This weekend we've got a cracker weekend of rugby coming up from across the world, and it's going to be very exciting. From Japan to New Zealand to South Africa, it's all going on this weekend. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about the URC Championship Final that's going to be played on Saturday at Loftus Versfeld in Pretoria in South Africa, and it's going to be between the home team, the Vodacom Bulls, and the visitors, the Glasgow Warriors from Scotland. So let's get into it. G'day everyone, and welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. If you haven't been here before, my name is Mark. I'm a Kiwi rugby fan that's living in beautiful Mexico and bringing you all these videos about rugby. Now, if you haven't checked out my other previews for the other games this weekend, go across to the channel and do that now. You'll find videos there about the Auckland Blues playing against the Waikato Chiefs, preview for that game, and also the South Africa game against Wales. That's going to be a big one in the weekend as well. But this video is all about the Bulls versus the Warriors, and boy, what a game it's going to be. And I think that we've got over 50,000 people who have already purchased tickets to be at Loftus Versfeld in the weekend, so it's going to be very exciting tomorrow down there in Pretoria. Now in this video I'm going to talk about the two teams, give you my thoughts around that, but also give you my predictions around how I think this game might play out in this championship final. So let's get into the two teams right now. We'll start off with the visitors this time, and it's going to be the Glasgow Warriors, and we'll start off having a look at their backline. Okay, so looking at the back line for Glasgow, and the back three, we've got at fullback McKay, then we've got Cancelleri, and we've got Stain on the wings. And this is a good back three, and as we've seen throughout the competition, Glasgow are a team that loves to run the ball. In fact, they've got the lowest kick percentage of any team in the URC Championship this year, and that's by no default. So they are really focused on opening up the play, and that's going to be one of the really interesting factors of this game. So looking at the centres for Glasgow in this game, we've got Hugh Jones at outside centre, of course, and we've got Tui Piloto in at inside centre. Then number 10 and 9 combination for Glasgow, we've got Jordan at number 10. He's been playing pretty well in that position. And we've got Horn, of course, with all that experience at halfback. And this is a really exciting backline, I feel, for Glasgow. They've shown throughout the competition they love running the ball from anywhere. And you can expect that again in this particular game against the Bulls. Now both coaches have gone for a 6-2 split in this game as far as the benches go, and for Glasgow on the bench in the back line we've got Dobie and Weir. So Franco Smith's making that call, and I think Franco Smith's done a fantastic job, by the way, with this Glasgow Warriors team, and he should be giving a lot of accolades for getting them to finish in the position he has in this year's competition and to be in the final. It really is a good run by him and the team this year. So there we go, that's the back line that's going to... Now of course in the forwards, that's where we expect a lot of the battle to go on in this game, and just setting up that platform so the backs can use the ball with the intent that they want to. And Glasgow are going to have a good powerhouse up front. They've got Barty, they've got Fagerson, and they've got Matthews in the front row. So that's a good front row for them. They're up against it though, against these Bulls, and I'm sure the Bulls scrummaging is going to be something that they really try and put the heat on Glasgow. Then we move on to the locks for the Glasgow team, and we've got Cummings and Gray, a pair that have played a lot together. They know each other's game, but more importantly they're in rhythm with this Glasgow team, and as far as getting set piece, they're going to be very focused on that. But also expect them to do a lot of work in the breakdown, because the speed of the breakdown, I think, in this game is going to be critical. Then we move on to the back three and the forwards for Glasgow, and they've got an impressive back three. They've got Fagerson there, they've got Dempsey, and they've got Darge on the other flank. And boy, what a back three that is. And if these guys all play to their potential, they're going to give the Bulls a run for their money, that's for sure. But again, it's going to depend on the momentum they bring into this game, the belief that they have. So there we go, that's the starting 8 for Glasgow in this game. Let's have a look at their bench. So the forward bench for Glasgow is Turner, Macbeth, Kebble, Williamson and Ferry. And a good bench. These, as I said, these guys are going to have to bring their A game in the second half, or whenever they do come on. Of course, if they come on for an injury or a replacement for a yellow card, and we'll see how they go. But this is going to be a really interesting factor of the game for me, is how these benches go, and in particular how the Glasgow bench goes, because we're all expecting them to possibly run out of gas in the second half, and if they're able to keep their energy levels up and keep themselves in the game, then they're going to have a very good chance, I believe. Okay, let's jump over to the Bulls team and have a look at who they've selected for the game. Of course, Jake White is the coach of the Bulls. A lot of experience both at a Springbok level and of course at the Bulls level, and plenty of rugby intelligence when it comes to Jake White picking his teams for games like this. Now the big news is in the backs for the Bulls, we've got two big announcements really, I think, in terms of the selection of this team. The first one is there's no Willie le Roux, and that's a big blow, I think, for the Bulls, because Willie le Roux played so brilliantly well against Leinster and really helped the Bulls control a lot of that game, and I think he's going to be sorely missed in this particular team of the Bulls. We've got Devin Williams in there at fullback, a good player, but with the way we've seen Willie le Roux playing lately, in particular the way that he controlled that last game, he was absolutely outstanding, and I think he's going to be a big miss for the Bulls. However, on the wing we've got Kurtley Arendse, and he's back, and that's a bit of a surprise. I didn't think he'd be back from injury, but he's in there, and that's big news for the Bulls, because we all know how great he is, and not only scoring tries but competing under the high ball, and I think we're going to see some of that in this game tomorrow. So great to see Arendse back in the team for the Bulls this weekend. And on the other wing we've got Peterson, of course, scoring 2 tries last time out to help them secure that spot into the final, and who will forget that high ball take that he took to get over the line and score that match winning try against Leinster. That was fantastic from Peterson. So the back three for the Bulls are very, very good. I think they're going to miss Willie le Roux just because he's got such experience in big games like this, and the way that he was doing his strategic kicking last time out was something that really helped the Bulls win that game. But let's see how Williams goes. And then having a look at the centres for the Bulls in this game, and of course outside centre is going to be David Creel, been playing fantastic this year, I think, for the Bulls, and big game player as well. So let's see what he can do in this particular final. Inside him is Vorster, and again another strong pairing here. So I think Creel and Vorster are going to cause some problems for Glasgow, and they're also going to be really, really good on defence, and they're going to need to be, because Glasgow, I think, are going to throw everything at this Bulls team. And then moving into the 10 and 9 combination for this game for the Bulls, and it's Hoosen at number 10, and boy, he's been playing really well this year, hasn't he? And I've heard a lot of people talking about him perhaps getting a chance in the Springboks again at some stage, because he's really lit it up this season. He's been Mr. Dependable, and he's going to have to do the same thing both with his kicking and his distribution in this game against Glasgow. And then Papier at halfback has played really, really well. The games that I've watched of the Bulls this year, he's been very instrumental in helping the Bulls forwards go forward, and he's been very good at box kicks as well. So expect to see them, a few of those box kicks put up against this Glasgow team, because I think competition in the air is going to be something that the Bulls go to try and rattle this Glasgow team. So there we go, that's the back line for the Bulls that are going to start this game tomorrow. And now let's have a look at the substitutes that they're going to bring on. Now, because of the 6-2 split that Jake White's gone for in this game, we've got 2 back reserves for the Bulls, and it's William Smith and Schmidt. And yeah, these guys are going to be able to cover well, so we're going to see some utility coverage there. And again, it's all going to be about energy for me in this game, because as we get into that last 20 minutes, I expect that's where this game is going to be won and lost. So whichever team has the freshest legs and the highest amount of energy during that period between 60 minutes and 80 minutes, I think is going to have the best chance of winning this game. Now let's take a look at the forwards for the Bulls, because this could be the pivotal area of the game tomorrow. Starting off with the Bulls forwards and looking at their front row, and we've got Steenkamp, Grobelaar and Lowe, a mighty front row there, and this is where I think the Bulls are going to try and put a lot of pressure on Glasgow. Set pieces in the lineouts and in the breakdown areas, they're going to use their big man to try and get over top of the ball and get the ball out for the Bulls backs. What the backs do with it is going to be the big question there. And having a look at the locks for the Bulls in this game, we've got Vermaak and Nortje, and Ryan Nortje has been playing very, very well, captaining this team and I expect these two guys to do particularly well in the lineouts. But Cummings and Gray are really good in the lineout for Glasgow, and I expect this to be a really interesting competition. So keep your eye on the lineouts in this game and see who is able to get any dominance at all. And then we've got the back three for the Bulls and the forwards, and boy, what a back three it is with Van Staden, Lowe and Honeycomb. And we won't forget that wonderful performance that Cameron Honeycomb put in last time out, and everybody across the world has been talking about this young guy getting into a Springbok jersey very, very soon, and it was an outstanding performance. And let's hope that that wasn't his game of the series. He's going to have to back that up again tomorrow with a game like that against Glasgow for this Bulls team to have any chance. So a fantastic back three. Of course, Van Staden brings all that experience that he's got with the Springboks, and he's getting back in after coming back from an injury, so he's going to be rearing to go and on fresh legs as well, which is going to be another important component of this game for him. So there's the forwards that are going to start the game for the Bulls. Now let's take a look at their reserves. Okay, we've got Aka van der Merwe coming on. We've got Martin Zima, he's a fantastic player as well. We've got Klopper, Ludwig, Carr and Berger. So some big boys coming on for the Bulls. But again, for me, this is all going to be about energy in that last period of the game. I really believe that's what it's going to come down to in this particular game. So there we go, that's the Bulls run on 8 for the forwards as well as their substitutes. It's going to be a huge competition in the forwards. I expect the Bulls to come out on top in the forwards anyway. And now let's get on and talk about some of the other things that are going to be related to this particular game. Okay, so two things that I just want to highlight that maybe you're not considering when it comes to looking at the prediction of this game. The first one is a negative for Glasgow, and that is they don't travel very well. They haven't got a good record on the road. In fact, it's pretty poor indeed. So is this going to be the case again where they struggle to travel and put a good game together, or whether they're able to buck that trend and come out with a great game? So that's one downside I see for Glasgow potentially in this battle. Then one of the downsides I see for the Bulls is their level of consistency. Yes, they played a fantastic game against Leinster last time out, and perhaps their game of the season. But across the course of the season, they seem to have a bit of a roller coaster ride. So let's hope they didn't play their A game against Leinster, and they're not able to repeat that performance tomorrow against Glasgow, because I think they're going to need to repeat that performance at least to be able to get the win over Leinster. So there's a couple of things that I see as being potential negatives for each of these teams in tomorrow's game. Okay, something else I think we've got to look out for in tomorrow's game is that whether or not the Bulls are going to get sucked into playing the type of game that Glasgow are going to play. We know that Glasgow are going to want an open, expansive game. They're going to try and run the Bulls off their feet, and they're going to try and score as many tries as they possibly can. As I said earlier in the video, they're not known for their kicking, this Glasgow team, in general play. So they're going to be taking every opportunity they possibly can to run the ball at the Bulls. Now, if the Bulls go with this strategy, have they got the energy and the momentum and the skill level to be able to match this Glasgow team? That's going to be one of the interesting questions I think that needs to be answered going into this game. So the Bulls strategy in this game is going to be really important. What Jake White and the management team of the Bulls decide to do to try and beat this Glasgow team, watch out for that in the first 10 or 15 minutes, because we're going to get a very clear indication on whether it's going to work or not. Now, I mentioned it in the selection phase of this video that Willie le Roux I think is going to be missed enormously from the Bulls. Rense in there is going to be a big plus for them, but Willie le Roux, just with his kicking at the back, and he's also very, very stable at the back there for the Bulls and for South Africa, isn't he? He can see the field in front of him. He knows what strategy needs to be deployed at every play time, and he's very, very consistent at that. So I think that's a big thing that the Bulls are going to miss in the game. However, I think that can be compensated by the crowd that's going to be at Loftus Versfeld tomorrow for the Bulls. I think the Bulls are going to get really lifted by that. It's going to be a fantastic turnout, and I think the Bulls are going to be very, very proud playing the final of the URC Championship at home in front of this incredible South African patriotic crowd. So I think that's going to be a big plus for the team tomorrow, and don't underestimate how powerful that could be in the back end of the game if the Bulls are chasing the game. Now I've got to be honest with you all on this one. I'm having trouble picking a winner or even making a prediction because there's so many different connotations that could happen in this game. A lot of people are talking about how well the Glasgow team are going to travel and prepare for this game. It's always a big thing getting up for a final, and sometimes teams can do it very well, other times they can struggle, so it's all going to depend on how Glasgow perform. But I think one of the interesting dynamics of this game is going to be what strategy the Bulls play. Are they going to take Glasgow on at their own game, or are they going to come with that forward power and try and dominate and use the kicking strategy as a weapon for them? I think with Hussein and Papier, they've got two options there to put in wonderful strategic kicks, box kicks and general kicks in play that can really get this Bulls forward pack going forward, and that's going to be really, really interesting to watch. Now on the community page of this channel with the poll I put up, most of you are predicting a Bulls win, and that's really interesting to me because I think this game could be a lot closer than a lot of people are anticipating. I realize a lot of those people are Bulls fans, so I understand that. But as I say, for me, this one's too close to call. It could go either way, and I don't really want to make a prediction and say, well, it's going to be this or that, because I really believe in it, because I think there's too many variables for me that could stand out, that if Glasgow get away with a couple of early tries and get their momentum and belief into their game, they could take it right to the Bulls. But I think that last 20 minutes, whatever team's got the energy and the passion to win this game in the last 20 minutes, that's where it's going to come out for me. So there you go, too close to call for me, but if I was to fall on one side, I'd probably go with the Bulls because they've got that home advantage, and I just think that passionate crowd in at Loftus Versfeld tomorrow might get them across the line, and who knows, they might actually sprint out of the gate and put on quite a few points against this Glasgow team. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think Franco Smith and Jake White have got the combinations right in their team selections from those players that were available to be able to pick from this game? And let me know who you think are going to be standout and most important players in this game, because I think that's another critical aspect. Do you think it's going to be that midfield battle we're going to see? Do you think it's going to come down to strategic kicking? Or do you think it's all going to be about the forwards and the breakdowns and getting that possession on hand? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Now don't forget, I'm going to be back this weekend with reviews of all the major games that are going on across the world. So if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. A lot of you watch my videos but haven't subscribed yet. And if you like this particular video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up as well and a like on the channel. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much in advance. So I'll be back after the games with a full in-depth review on how it all went, what players stood out for me, and whether or not the strategies that each team worked were the winning ones. Until then, I'd like to say take care, stay safe everybody, and I'll see you again really soon from here in beautiful Mexico. Until then, adios.